All right. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Thanks everybody for joining in. Gonna be kicking off in just a second here. There we go. All right. Hey. Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody? Welcome, welcome. And hello and welcome to everybody who is tuning in on our live stream on YouTube. I'm so excited to have you here. My name is Tony Bacigalupo. I'm the community program manager here at Team SPI. I'm also producing the Audience Driven Summit with SPI. It's coming up in October. Super excited for that. And I am so excited to welcome all of you to Demo Day Q2-21. This is a big one. I'm just so excited because we have been watching as everybody in this group has been just doing incredible work over the course of the last several months. And now we're kind of at the end of this season and we get to have a chance to show off what we did, what we learned, what we achieved. And I'm just so grateful that we get a chance to do this because when you work for yourself, especially working from home, when you're not in a traditional business, it's easy to just have every day kind of keep passing by. And the accomplishments that you make as you build your business, small and large, it's very easy for them to just kind of keep going and for you to end up just kind of treading water as you go. But we have this community. We are here to support each other in SPI Pro. And so we have a chance to just share, talk about what we learned, talk about what we achieved, talk about what we're proud of. Pat yourselves on the back, literally, figuratively, however you all want to do it. And we can also talk about how this community has been helpful to us as well. And so what we're going to be doing is I'm really just going to be turning this over to the folks who are in this room, the fellow pros of SPI Pro, who are going to each have a chance to tell their story. And then we'll have some time to do some Q&A and reflection and discussion after each presentation. So each person who steps up to talk, a couple of people have pre-recorded their video, which is totally cool. I will play that for you. If somebody wants to screen share something and walk us through a thing they built, that's great. If somebody has slides they want to show, that's totally cool too. This is a great chance to kind of test out some of your language if you're looking to pitch something down the line. Although we're not really doing pitches, more demos. But if you just want to tell your story, you can just, tell your story. That's totally cool too. And so each person will have about 5 minutes. I know one of us has a video that's going to put us a little bit over that time, but basically everybody has about 5 to present and about 5 to discuss. If you go over on the present, well, I might have a little bit less on the discuss. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right, cool. Before we start, does anybody have any cute furry friends in the room? Any puppers, any kitties? I always love breaking the ice. I love watching people like look under their desk, like, well, where is that guy anyway?
I do. I'm going to go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so cute.
What's up, buddy? Hello, you're on the internet. You're live to the world.
He's like, are they talking to me? Are they saying something?
Yeah.
Like, oh, what do I do?
Of course, everyone's looking at me. Yes. Which is a great segue to who is that kitty's human?
Yeah, that kitty's human. Well, let me go back to the good-looking camera angle. Oh my gosh, this looks so dark and sad.
Not ready.
But wait. Well, hello, everybody.
Ooh, look at that camera angle and that lighting. Wow.
My name is Jay. I'm on the community experience team here with Jill and Tony and Noan, who may join at some point. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I'm just here to help make the pro experience better all the time, as well as our course community, the SPI Academy. Tony and I get to collaborate on our cohort-based courses, our boot camps. We're running a Power Up Podcasting boot camp right now. But yeah, we're the people. We're the community people. And we love doing stuff like this, which is totally Tony's zone of genius and his brainchild here. So I love these demo days and I'm excited to see what everyone has here. And also share my own stuff if we have a minute.
That's right. Jay's going to put on the presenter hat because we're all members of the community here, and he's got a really neat project that I think a lot of us might actually be interested to participate in. So welcome to Jay. And I'll also welcome Jill Benbow, who all of you pros already know super well. But Jill, so great to have you here as well. How you feeling?
Thank you. Thank you. I am so excited to see all of these demos, the showcasing. People have been working hard on, their businesses, and we love giving everyone an opportunity to shine and kind of, show what they've been working on. And for everybody watching on YouTube, hello, you'll see me in the chat. So I will be paying attention to your comments there as well.
Jill has been excitedly in the chat, both in this Zoom meeting and in YouTube live at the same time. So she's just furiously typing away. Can we talk about what we're about to announce, Jillian? I don't know. It's like sort of semi out there.
What are we announcing?
The thing that you and I do.
That thing. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm violating an embargo here, but there's a new podcast that SPI is going to be publishing to the public starting next week. And Jillian and I are going to be the hosts of it. It's going to be all about community. It's called The Community Experience. And if you are crafty, you will be able to find the trailer on your favorite podcasting service, but it's not officially live until next week. So don't go tweeting it up too hard just yet.
Don't tell Pat.
I say as we broadcast this over the internet.
It's
the really psyched for it.
It's the worst kept secret at SPI.
And we're just going to keep making it worser.
Worser.
Thank you all. Yeah. Thank you all for joining. And Alexandra, I saw your message, and I will definitely have you go earlier in the hour so we can work with your timing.
Also,
and
Alexandra showed her cat.
I saw just for a quick second, and that was wonderful. I would love to see that cat again as circumstances permit. And I'll say while Alexandra's fetching the kitty, you reminded me, Jill, as you were talking about, giving people a chance to show off their stuff. I came up in the New York technology community. I'm in New York City and kind of was involved in the startup scene here. I ran a co-working space here for a long time. And I went to a lot of startup demo events, and it was really, really cool being able to see what people built. But I just love being able to give people the ability to do that same thing, except instead of pitching for validation from investors, pitch for validation from yourself and from your peers, and maybe for customers while we're at it. So Alexandra, can you introduce us to your furry friend while we get ready to launch it here?
This is Makita.
So beautiful.
Cat assistant, who I laugh because when I'm on like big professional meetings that they aren't so welcoming as you are to pets, she's always like on my desk. And of course, as soon as you're like, who has furry friends? She bolts out the door.
It's got to be on Makita's terms,
That's it. All right, y'all. So thank you for that, Alexandra, for chasing down Makita. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn it over to you all. And if I have any volunteers for anybody who wants to just get the butterflies out of their system and then kick back for the rest of the sesh. Alexandra, do you want to go first? Do you want to kick us off?
I'd love to.
All right. So before you get into it, I want to introduce you, just to make it a little bit more official, right? Because this is it's an event. So ladies and gentlemen, interestingly enough, your company is called Moroccanos.
That was my latest post to SPI Pro, was asking on how I should pronounce it, since most people pronounce it the way you do.
But Moroccanos it has panache. Yeah. I'm rocking those Moroccanos. I feel like it could be a fashion brand. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, Alexandra Mannerings is a member of SPI Pro. She's also the founder of Moroccanos, a data services and analytic education company. And Alexandra, tell us about what you have done over the last few months and and how the SPI Pro community helped you. Let's make some noise for Alexandra, everybody. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So I, as you said, have recently founded my own company. So I started in February, brand new. And I'm devoted entirely to supporting nonprofits and helping them amplify their impact through the use of analytics. And so I made a commitment for Demo Day that I would launch my podcast. And I officially launched it last night at 11 o'clock last night. So it was on time, out the door, and learned the whole new meaning of minimum viable product, right? Like it's out the door. So the SPI Pro community has been an incredible support for me on that. One, because just being surrounded by other people who have done this like big, hairy, audacious thing that you say, maybe someday I'll do that, but that they do it. And so you go, okay, maybe it's not going to be someday, I could do it now. And whether it's events like this that hold you accountable, all of the questions I got to ask, right? Like up to how should I actually pronounce the name of my company that I made up, to all of the office hours that I gate crashed with Jay, and all of the funny questions that I was asking him. And even if I didn't get to quite do the launch party the way that I want, but I might do round 2 with an official launch party. And I love that I could even ask a stupid question of like, what is a launch party? Like, how does one do that? And I loved that everyone followed up with emails and I would get lost. And the fact that I could introduce myself to complete strangers and have them give me advice on all aspects of my business has just been extraordinary. And of course, again, like I said, seeing everyone else do things. I also, in addition to launching my podcast, I am hosting now a virtual data summit. So that will also happen at the end of September, which is never something that I would have been like, yeah, I can totally do that. But you see everyone else being able to, and they encourage you and tell you how you can do it and succeed. So that's what I've been up to.
Alexandra, amazing. Thank you so much for kicking us off, breaking the ice for us here. Congrats. So cool. 11 o'clock.
Yes.
It's the best. It's the best. It's a good feeling when you're in that zone. So tell us a little bit more. Tell us about like, what is the podcast? Who would be interested in it? Tell us about that, briefly, and then also about the event as well. Yeah. And we got about 2 minutes, and then we'll turn it over to Q&A.
All right. So my podcast is called Heart, Soul, and Data, which is a little bit of a riff off the name that I made up for my company. Mirakinos is made up of 2 words of Greek origin. So Meraki is Greek for doing something with all your heart and soul. And nos is the root for cognitive knowledge or like deductive logic. And so I put those 2 things together because for me, that's what data really represents. Like when we work with analytics for nonprofits, it's about using information and analytics to make what our heart cares most about bigger in the world. And so my podcast explores all aspects of that. My podcast is about breaking down these myths that data are cold and heartless, but actually, in fact, they are the brightest light that we can use to find our ways through these unknown times to make the world a better place. And so I do interviews with many different experts, people who've walked this path, people who have insights to help with data management, data strategy, data collection. All aspects of that analytic journey are going to be present on the podcast. My first episode is actually with an executive director of a small nonprofit who's walked this exact journey. And she shares how they went from paper impossible, right? Writing things down on pieces of paper and having it not work, to a completely synchronized digital system that allows them to actually show the impacts of their interventions.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you for that. And I just pictured like an anthropomorphized version of data. Was just listening to you explain that, and it just like started like, shedding a tear. Like somebody understands me. Yeah. So beautiful. All right. So Alexandra, let's open it up. Yeah. To see what other folks want to share and ask you. So everybody, I'm going to bring you all in. And while we're doing that, Alexandra, if you want to, go ahead and drop some links in the chat. And Jillian, if you can help me out, if you can help me with the transfer of links from the Zoom chat to the YouTube chat, so all the other folks out there can can gobble it up. And for everybody else who intends to speak up, have your links ready to paste as well, so that you don't have to scramble like I just made Alexandra do, which I apologize for.
I had them up actually. All good.
Perfect. All right, y'all. So Alexandra, what does everybody think? Let's make some noise for Alexandra. Some digital, virtual, silent noise. Yeah.
I just say, Alexandra, I always appreciate when you come to office hours and share all of your questions. It's been a couple weeks. We miss you. Come back.
I'm sorry, I will. I
some-
may have been working on said podcast, so.
All good. You only missed some existential dread that we had this week, but it was good. It was cathartic.
Well, I'll definitely join back now that I've done my big, hairy, audacious thing.
All right. Who is that? And by the way, if you, for those of you who are here in the Zoom, if you, for whatever reason, need to be camera off, you need to be on chat, you could drop your questions in the chat and I'll read them out loud, or one of us from the team will field those, or just your comments and reflections. Who else has a question?
I do.
Yeah, Reid, welcome.
Jump in. So Alexandra, feel free to redirect if you don't want attention on this. But Tony made a joke about your brand sounding like a fashion brand, and I recall a certain couple of fashion things that you designed. Do you want to mention those?
Oh, that's true. I did. Let's see if I can bring that one up. I have a Heart, Soul, and Data t-shirt store that is full of all of the geeky things you could possibly want. So if you need a t-shirt that says, Data Diva, which is one of my titles, you can get that, or maybe you need something on the dread of cleaning data. So I thank you, Reid. That's really cute. You brought that up. But yeah, I guess I can say it's a fashion brand too. I'll see if I can pull that link up too.
Alexandra, I'd love to hear how you're thinking about the event that you're running, because the thing with events is they can be all consuming if you let them. So what types of guide rails are you putting up to keep it from being all consuming with all the other things you have going on?
That's a great question. So I am filling it with other people who are speaking. So that takes a load off me, and that I'm not going to try to present for 3 hours. I'm going to make everyone else present for 3 hours. Each talk is short. So it's about 15 minutes of a presentation with 15 minutes of questions. So again, I'm hoping to have the feel be very informal, very conversational, so that it doesn't have to have this huge production value. And then for me as well, I am using a virtual conference platform that's going to help me host it, so that I'm not trying to figure out all of the technical pieces. And I did finally admit that it would be helpful to have someone else back me up on this. And I'm going to have a co-host who will be helping me actually run the event. And I was like, it actually was good to admit I'm not going to be doing all of it myself. So.
Congratulations, Alexandra. When I was in my job at Penn, I used to help students find jobs, and I did a lot of stuff with the student data analytics club. I think it would be cool to introduce you to somebody over there, because I think it's so amazing what you're doing. And I think a lot of students would be interested in that, if you're interested.
I'd love that. I love speaking to people, and my path has not been straight nor smooth. So it's fun speaking to people who are kind of looking out on that journey and say, like, it's okay if you don't have it all figured out. Like, there's lots of twists and turns, and I'm happy to share what I've learned from mine. So thank you.
Cool.
Alexandra, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. I'll just put my email in so you can contact me later.
Yes.
Yay.
Sorry.
Love it. You're good. Alexandra, you got a shout out from amazing Mr. Jesse on YouTube for your beautiful background.
Oh.
And he also asked, what was the idea behind the event?
So for me, it's that the nonprofit space is, I would say, one of the slowest to come to the analytic revolution that's hit so many other places, right? So we see companies like Netflix and the whole Silicon Valley, they've really taken hold of this. And I feel like sometimes not always for the best. And I'd really like that transformation to start reaching the sectors of our communities that are actually devoted to doing good work. And these are the same groups that don't have the kinds of resources that Silicon Valley and these big companies have. So all this conversation about how to do analytics with huge amounts of resources just doesn't translate for them. So the summit is trying to break down both the technological, but also the psychological barriers to getting into analytics, right? We think, oh, we're too small. oh, I don't have enough money. Oh, I don't have enough staff. And we're going to address each of those steps along the analytic journey to show like you can do it. Here's at least one action you can take that's going to move you towards more analytics in your organization.
Wonderful. You got a woot from the amazing Mr. Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse.
Tony, you're on mute.
All right, one more round of applause for Alexandra, everybody. Just picture the thunderous applause. Woo! Yay.
It's even worse than a golf clap because there's actually no sound.
It is absolutely silent golf clap. That's right. Right, we are off to a great start. Alexandra, thanks for kicking us off. So I want to go over to Allison. And Allison, I am so excited to share your story and to hear your story. Allison has a website called Seahawk Solutions. I believe I have that. Or Shehawk Solutions. Shehawk Solutions. You're going to help me pronounce it. Shehawk Solutions.
There's a long story behind it.
I can't wait. Can't wait. But you have a unique take on helping athletic trainers learn and prep and study. Do I have that right?
Yep, that's right. So,
amazing. Allison, take it away. Let's make some noise for Allison, everybody. Woo. All right,
so
Allison.
My contractor business is Shehawk Solutions. So Shay is my oldest son, and it's actually a little bit of a double name because Shay means hawk-like. And we live in Hawkeye country right next to the University of Iowa. So a little bit of SEO work right there. So, but as it grew, I hardly work with anyone in Iowa. So didn't really work out in my favor, but that's all right. So my new business that I'm launching is called AT Study Buddy. And it is for student athletic trainers. So those who are not yet certified and cannot practice with patients. So if it's okay, I'd like to share my screen.
Yeah, go for it. You should be able to.
Okay. So AT Study Buddy started kind of as an idea that I had a couple years ago when I was working in the clinical education field. So I am still an athletic trainer. I don't practice much anymore, though I maintain my national and state licensures. So I was finding through message boards and colleagues of mine that students were really struggling to study for the national exam that they have to take. It's called the BOC. And so I kind of looked around to see what was still available. Back when I took the test about 11 years ago, it was a computer proctored test that you took in a test center. It is still that exact same test, but the only way to study for it is stuff like this. So there's no actual way for students to mimic taking the actual exam in an exam environment. So what I've done is I have actually replicated the exam on my website. I also have put in some study guides and career prep. And this is going to be launching this fall. I've did a soft launch this month because I do have 3 universities that have signed up for licenses for their entire athletic training program. And I'm selling it to individual students as a membership with a few different membership options. And I'm also selling it to schools where they can purchase licenses at a discount to hand out to their students. So think of, back in the day when you used to get, a CD-ROM and it would have the, 20-digit license code on the back. That's essentially what I'm replicating, but in a digital way. They'll get a code to go in and create a free account. So got a few schools signed up, one Division I, which is really exciting. So if you sign up for the full platform, I actually have it divided into 2 subscription models. One is a month to month and the other is a semester. They can also purchase an entire year of it if they want. I don't expect to sell a lot of that just because of the nature of how it cycles through students. They can only take this exam 3 times per year, usually in the spring, in the summer, and then in, I believe they can take it again in November. And then once they're done, they're not my customer anymore. So I'm really always having to find new customers. So once they get in, they'll have all their study materials and their practice exams. If I go in and start the exam, it looks exactly the same, where they have the boxes where they can jump around, they can mark stuff for review. And then if they were to complete the exam, and I'm not going to finish it, so it's going to say that I failed. It'll give me my final score, my average score per domain. Athletic training is divided into 5 category domains with different percentages of each domain in the exam. And so it weights the domains for them and tells them where they need to focus their studies a bit more. And right now I have 8 practice exams that they can take. A couple mini exams, and then domain specific exams. So say they completely bombed domain 1 and got 0%, they could take just a domain 1 exam and work on getting that a little bit better. For study materials, I've got lots of different stuff, anatomy, they can go in here and quiz themselves. These are just, kind of like drop down flashcards.
This is so interactive. It's so impressive. Sorry, I had to jump in just to
It's
be
okay.
like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff in here. I could go in and, go in here and check myself. I could put something incorrect. It would tell me I'm wrong, give me the right answer. Flashcards, I can test myself instead of having to create my own flashcards on index cards or having to purchase them. This is a match game where they can sit and match, and this is all the same topic, but there's obviously a lot more in there, but matching the nerve name to the nerve number. This one's a drag and drop, so they can go in and drag. Oh, and my mouse is probably going to die. Oh, nope, going the wrong way. Go in and drag and try and match everything. So kind of see, or if I'm wrong, it'll send it back. I can check it, it'll tell me if I'm right or wrong. So there's word searches in there, there's mini quizzes, there's just all kinds of stuff. So there's a nice kind of sidebar piece here where they can go through, and it's broken out by domain. And then once it's up and running, I'm going to have a leaderboard. And this is kind of a way for me to prevent students from sharing. I know it's going to happen. I do have something set in place where they can't be logged into more than one device at the same time, or it'll kick them out. But eventually there'll be a leaderboard. It'll show their name and what university they're at. So it can be a little bit competitive. So it's my intention to have a community with this that they'll join for now via Facebook, and then to actually host some events like a quiz bowl where they can team up with their classmates and go against other students and schools. And then eventually I'd like to add a couple certifications that certified athletic trainers can actually sit for later down the road. So I can kind of expand my audience a little bit, but this is just launching this year. So that's way down the road, but there's other things I'd like to add to this eventually. And the one thing I do want to point out, AT Study Buddy is ATS is a well-known acronym for athletic training student. So that's why it's combined up here. So
Awesome.
that's Study Buddy.
Amazing.
It's been my baby for a couple years.
Allison,
It's like
people
blown
are
away amazing.
gushing right now.
Yeah.
How did you get this built, Allison? Did you build this? It seems like there's so much custom coding on top of your WordPress here.
I did build this. My day job, I'm a Salesforce developer.
Wow. Wow,
Dude,
wow.
I feel like this is like LMS software unto itself.
This is LMS software. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Part of
It's
my
really
Shayhawk Solutions
amazingly integrated.
consultancy is doing instructional design and LMS setups, like a full setup. So I've had, I'm kind of a jack of all trades. So I've had people come in where I actually create the course and then I build the website for them.
Wow. It's so I mean, really, like I have no relation to athletic training, and I wanted to like go in there and learn just so I can play with the interface.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. If you
Incredible.
shoot me a message, I can give you access.
So
Great.
Allison,
Thank you, Allison.
couple questions. Well, you answered the software question. You said you're using LMS software, or is there anything more specific than that?
It's called LearnDash. And I know everyone in the community probably is all about Teachable, but LearnDash is a little more flexible. Obviously, you can see there's a lot of code behind this.
Oh yeah.
If you're you don't have to be technical. A lot of very basic LearnDash websites are just, you can have video and quizzes and assignments, what you would expect from a traditional LMS, but the price is, you can't beat the price. I'm paying like $180 a year for this software.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's yeah, it's a killer price.
Yeah. And it's just so robust. And then David, one of our fellow pros who was in the business meetup earlier today. Thanks for coming to another one, David. He's curious if you have any plans or ideas to extend kind of the courses and training certifications you do to the personal training exams, like the ACE and CSM.
So a lot of athletic trainers do sit for the CSCS exam. So I'd like to add that one eventually. Really, it's going to be, based on what the audience wants and what certifications they're going to want down the road. But I mean, there's a lot out there, but, there was really a need for this because like I showed you, the only way that they could study was their textbooks and then pen and paper books. Nothing was replicating sitting for the actual test. So, I've shown a couple big wigs in the industry and they've all been pretty blown away by this and, kind of wondering why no one's done it yet. So
yeah,
that'll be exciting too. Yeah. Being first to market.
Yeah. So cool.
Absolutely killer. Allison, thank you so much. Blown away. We're getting a lot of positive response to both chats. While I say a few other things, just want to also call out, do we have a volunteer to be our next presenter? You can drop it in the chat. You can use the raise your hand feature. You can raise your physical, actual human hand as well. But while we do that, Allison, one more round of silent digital applause for Allison, everybody. Congrats. Way to go. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you for that. And I'll also say a quick program note because I did not get to say this properly in the beginning, but all these folks are members of an online membership community called SPI Pro. And what we do is we have a quarterly, we have 4 times a year cohorts that come in during an application window. And then we welcome all those folks in. We go through a process of onboarding folks, making everybody feel comfortable, and then moving into kind of the mid game. We set our next demo day to be kind of at the end of the next quarterly cohort. And so we're kind of at the end of this current quarter. And that means we've got a new quarter coming up. And so the application window for SPI Pro will be opening up again. Jill, Jay, do you have the date handy? Very soon. So if head to smartpassiveincome.com/pro, and 12 days from now, so early in September, we will be opening up our invitations. So get your application in. If you're watching, you're interested, you get to hang out with all the folks you see here and so many more amazing folks as well. Am I missing? I mean, we could like talk all kinds of things about Pro, but Jay, Jill, does anybody want to just say a quick added note for anybody who's tuning in who wants to learn more about how it works?
My cat is trying to get a word in edgewise. I will just say it's one of my favorite corners on the internet. Alexandra mentioned office hours every week. I hold an open office hours. Pat obviously has office hours for his course students, but we have pro specific office hours and a lot of events that Jill hosts every single month. We saw some of the magic here when Tiffany was saying to Alexandra, oh, you should meet these people. I'll make an introduction. And that happens all the time in Pro, which is why we love doing stuff like this.
Awesome. Thank you, Jay, who keeps turning his camera off because his cat is all over him, which is awesome. It's wonderful. All right. So do we have a volunteer? Tick tock, tick. Yeah, Val. Wonderful. Val, thanks so much for raising your hand, literally. Val, I'm very excited because I know that you have kind of put in a little elbow grease to get ready for today. I'm just going to turn it over to you and tell us what you've been up to and what you're launching with us today.
Okay, so
make some digital noise for Val, everybody.
Thanks. So literally, actually, just a couple minutes ago, I was looking at it again, going, "Uh-oh, I see something I forgot." Quick changes and fixed it up. So actually, I've been a member of SPI Pro since the beginning, and gotten a lot of value out of it. One of the things that I don't know that you mentioned, Tony, was the masterminds that we have in there. And so I help facilitate one of those masterminds, which they're amazing, right? Getting together with other people like that are in this room, right? And we always all just encourage and challenge each other, hold each other accountable, whether week to week or every other week or whatever. So that's been a huge blessing for me as part of SPI Pro and just the type of people that are attracted to this community. But I use this is actually the first demo day that I've done, even though I've been in since the beginning. And I use the co-working sessions that were going with it as that external deadline. I don't know if there's any external deadline people out there, but I need those external deadlines. So I thought, this is a perfect chance to work on the new homepage for my website. So I'm transitioning from one website to another, but doing it on my own, don't have the developer and the time and yada, yada, yada. So I'd started using different pages on the website as landing pages for things that I was passing out, but the homepage was not. It was just kind of a mess. And so that's what I used this time for, is to get the new page out. And I just want to encourage people, and I'll show it in just a second here, that that whole shoot for B- or C+ or whatever. I mean, that's totally what this is. So the complete opposite of what our last gal shared, like with all that coding and stuff. All right. So I know enough tech to be dangerous. And my website, I can't just build it on the WordPress site right now. So I'm like, what am I going to do? Oh, I use Aweber and they have landing pages. So I'm making landing pages in Aweber and then connecting it to my website. So super kludgy, super workaround, but you know what? That's what it has. I mean, that's what we have to do at times, right? Let's just make it work. So that's what this is, making it work so that I can transition, because my old site, and I'm going to go ahead and share the new site, and I guess I can share the old site. My old site, maybe I can't because I can't see the things. Oh wait, here, if I move that, there we go. My old site, I used to use, there's the old one. I used to use lead pages, but then I quit using it. So like bunch of broken links, and after 3 years, your website's out of date anyway, you need to update it. So it's like always updating it. So the new one, using my new URL, my old URL is Inspired Strategic Solutions, which is really long. And so the new one, kind of going more with the personal brand, I'm using the site Val Cares. And the reason I'm using that is because my name, Valerie Pugsley, I always have to spell the last name, and everybody spells Valerie differently. So going with valcares.com, and yay, I got it done in time. Literally, like, 5 minutes before this call, I was pushing buttons to make it work. So following Pat's advice, right? Above the fold, make it clear what you do, how you help, and have your call to action. So I got my call to action going. Just some of the main points. Hopefully it's clear. I don't really love this video here because of the color, and it doesn't match the rest of the color, but this is done and ready. So part of that, releasing it when it's at the sea level, right? So I'll go back at some point and make another video and put it up here. That'll look better, but something, right? I've got something there. some testimonials from LinkedIn, a little bio, and another place to get that link if you want to, or connect with me online. And then also I do have a group coaching program. I coach on mindset, helping people with the things that get them blocked and not moving forward. So that's where I help. So I do group coaching. So a link to the group coaching is also there. And this was actually a page that was already done. Remember, I said I was hosting things on the site. So I had this, but if anybody does anything on the online, they'll always want to go back to the original page, right? So there it is. Done. I got it done. Thanks, Tony, for helping me get it done by hosting these things. So now I guess I can find the stop share thing there. There we go.
Amazing, Val. Make some noise for Val, everybody. Woo! Val, way to get it done. And yeah. I think the demonstrating those places where you didn't totally feel 100%, but you did it anyway, it sets just such a great example for everybody else who is trying to get something pushed out there into the world. I know for myself personally, the perfectionist is a dangerous friend when we're trying to get something live. I could very easily have spent hours trying to get the background color of my YouTube video to perfectly match the background color of my website, and then spend more hours trying to figure out why the encoder wasn't making the colors match, and going crazy. And then next thing I know, I didn't publish the site. Right. And so,
right.
And that's what kills us. That's what stops us. Yeah. And this is something that we've talked about a lot in the boot camps that we're doing. I'm in the middle of one right now for Power Up Podcasting. We've got people who are getting ready to launch their podcasts, and they're saying, gosh, well, I don't feel like the album art is there yet, or I don't feel like my production quality is there yet. And, we just have to the nice thing about having like a cohort format is it's okay. Give it some time, but then get done with it and move on. We'll come back to it later. You'll always make it better and better.
You're right. And it's always going to be changing, right? Like, what did Pat's things look like at the beginning? He's not using the same cover art, the same things. And even the things that he talks to is different. We evolve, right? So yes, it's going to change, and done is better, right? So
absolutely
done is better, and go in and edit. And I'll probably be going in and edit, but at least now it feels good enough that, I might do a few more between now and the next co-working thing, but a few more tweaks, but it's live, so now the next step will be creating that redirect so that when people email my old site or go to the old site, it'll come to the new site, right? So that's the next, the next phase, and just, do it in pieces. What's the next piece?
That's it. It's an iterative process. And, And the other thing is, when you put something out in the world, then you get the benefit of empirical feedback and experience, seeing how people use it, what they like, what confuses them. And then that helps you figure out where you really need to turn your attention, as opposed to what your head thinks you need.
Yeah. Well, and it's perfect too, because I'm not, spelling is not my forte, right? Grammar. But guess what? There's a lot of grammar people out there, and it bugs them when they see something wrong. And so for free, I could have an editor. They'll come and tell me what needs to be fixed.
That's absolutely right. There are plenty of people out there who will be more than happy to do that for you. Yep. And then we'll find things that none of us ever would on our own. I appreciate that. That's great. Jay, go for it.
Sorry, real quick. I just wanted to say, Val, I love the new domain name. I think Val Cares is short. It's memorable. It's endearing. I think it's going to be a really good handle for you across all the places you show up.
Thanks, Jay.
Hey, one thing I wanted to jump in and add real quick. You're talking about perfectionism and the troubles that plagues a lot of us, right? And I wanted to reference one thing that I think of a lot of times when I am struggling against that. And that's actually Pat's story that he's given about the time when he had the troll and he kind of shut down for a couple of weeks, if not months, where he didn't publish anything at all. And someone told him like, hey, and feel free to jump in, anyone who knows this story better. Someone came in and said, hey, Pat, you know that you're preventing all those other people that you are helping from getting your stuff by doing that. And not exactly the same thing, but pretty close. We are our own trolls sometimes. And so it's a good reminder to have, and like, hey, we can help even with our C, a passing is much better than nothing at all. So.
Right. Yeah.
Great work, Valerie.
Thanks. And we still need to get on a call so you can help me do it actually the right way. So I don't have to keep doing my kludge thing.
Oh, yeah.
Valerie, thank you for that. And Reid, appreciate that reflection. That's so awesome. So valuable and important for us to just have. Does anybody else have anything they want to ask or reflect to Val before we carry on? We're getting some good positive reinforcement in the chat, Val. So kudos to you. Congrats. Way to get it done. Way to set an example for your peers as well. Since the topic of co-working came up, this is totally not in my agenda, but I just love when things come up. I get to talk about them. This is kind of like a mini demo day for me. I'm a huge fan of this little cafe space. So I'm just going to share up a screenshot of what it looks like. And I would actually do a live demo that shows the background noise and everything. But frankly, when I'm running this on Zoom, broadcasting to YouTube and going into the cafe at the same time, my poor computer melts. So just showing the screenshot, but it's really cool. You can see in the lower right corner, you've got the music and coffee shop ambiance on their own volume controls. So you could control your music and your volume. And I usually have the notifications not muted so I can hear, there's like a little tinkling bell when somebody walks in the door, just like you're in a little store and a little chat space. And the idea is you could be, usually it's everybody's mic is off, but sometimes you could be camera off. And it just feels really good to just hang out in there. So I try to hang out in there as much as I can. And all you pros can hang out there whenever you want. And amazing Mr. Jesse's asking where's the coffee. The amazing thing about this cafe, amazing Mr. Jesse, is that it has the coffee you want. Because you can go get it in your kitchen and bring it over and hang out. So everybody always has the coffee that they want.
Unlimited refills. Val, the chat is going wild on the YouTube. The chat is going wild on the YouTube feed, just saying congrats, good job, amazing. So we're all loving what you're doing, Val.
And I'll shout out workfrom.co. That's our platform for the SPI Cafe. All right, Val, thank you so much. One more round of digital applause for Val, everybody. Woo! Yay. Okay. Do we have another volunteer? I do have a couple of videos. I just wanted to give some time in case any of those folks who recorded those videos wanted to come in and do some Q&A and explain their videos. But if they don't show up, I'm just going to play the video and we're just going to enjoy it. And in the meantime, Reid has volunteered, and I'm so grateful that you did, Reid, because I was just looking at you and just saying like, do it. So Reid, you've been a long time pro as well, and just such an integral part of the community. And I'm just so glad to have you here. And you have a sweet background too. Can you tell us about what's the art behind you before we get started?
Yes, of course. Well, and actually that's kind of part of my story or whatever. So coming into today, I signed up for what I called my initial content push. And so just a little bit of background for my company, Helpful for Life. We launched our first course back in November of last year, Kickstart Your Kitchen. And since then, the priority has been to figure out ways to grow the audience and engage with them. And with the first course, we very much had the go in a cave method where we went and made something and came out and said, hey, don't you want this thing? And it was a great way for me to get the ball rolling and get learning and things like that. And now I'm really looking forward to engaging more directly with the audience and working with them to develop whatever comes next. So part of that is what I'm calling an initial content push. And coming into today, I didn't know exactly how much we'd have done because that's kind of how these creative things go sometimes. But one of those things as part of the initial content push was developing a set for me to work on. And so that's this wall that we have behind you. And then also, you can't see it, but the office that I'm in right now, including, a standing desk, monitor mounts, camera mounts, lights, cameras, action, all of the stuff. So it's been something that I've been working on a lot over the last few months, and has been one of the big achievements, including highlighting some pictures, which I'll grab one and come, or at least move out of the way so you can see a couple of them. But this is one of the things that I've wanted to do for a long time. I've taken pictures of a lot of cool places I've been to 10 countries and 46 states. My wife and I lived in an RV for a year, traveling around US and Canada. And so I've been in really cool places, and I've actually taken some decent pictures, and I've been wanting to show them to people and share them for a while. And so far they've been living in the cloud, doing nothing. I'm really good about taking the pictures, not so great about doing something with them. So one of the things I'm doing with my backdrop is I'll be cycling pictures in and out. And I'm actually going to have a feature where people can buy a picture off my wall. And another feature that I'm looking at doing where I'll have a repository of all my images. And if you want to remix one of my images or edit it in a certain way, and then you can sell it and you get a percentage, I get a percentage, just some creative ways that create some extra income stream while also getting some cool edits of my own pictures. So I'll show off the ones that I've got here. So here you can see the RV that's this is in Utah, which for those of you who have not visited Utah, probably the most underrated state as far as natural beauty goes, especially I'm going to say especially in one part, but really in all of it. But in the southeast part, it's crazy. There's like 5 at least different national parks, a couple national monuments, and it changes a lot. So that's that one. This one here is Danielle, my wife, and Lincoln, our dog. And this is in Nebraska. And then up here is Lincoln in Vermont. And yeah, and we'll be cycling those in and out as time goes on. So I'll just go ahead and tell you a little bit more about my content push and stuff like that. Just a quick time check. Tony, how much time I got?
You're good. You're good.
Okay, cool.
We're doing okay. Yeah.
All right, cool. So for my initial content push, one of the challenges of Helpful for Life is we have a pretty audacious goal. The long-term goal is for us to help people everywhere from 13 to death. And for those who aren't familiar, which some of you are, but Helpful for Life is the best education that you never got. We teach people what they need to know they didn't learn in school. So everything from taxes to cooking to even some fun things that you don't talk about very often, like sex, drugs, and alcohol. And so we do that through online courses, YouTube videos, content on our website, calculators, ebooks, all sorts of ways. And actually right now I'm working with a business coach who actually happens to be an SPI Pro member. I'll give him a shout out, Kaylin Huntress. So first time I've ever had a business coach. So that's another pro of joining SPI Pro, was finding that out and joining the getting the value out of it, because it's actually really interesting because, I've been making this online course and saying I'm making this business about online courses, but yet I'm like exactly the guy who has never bought any online courses. And so it's been a really cool journey for me of going through all of the struggles and figuring out and trying to figure out what all the value is and how do I sell it to people and all these types of things, and going through a lot of the struggles myself to then have the insights to then turn around and say, look, I can tell you, I'm a dude who can figure out pretty much anything. I'm an electrical engineer background, very analytical, can figure out a bunch of stuff, which is great. But it's also a big flaw, because then you find that thing and you're like, I can make that YouTube background color match that thing exactly. And then you spend a long time, kind of like Tony was saying earlier. So I feel that one for sure, Tony. But anyways, this initial content push that we're working on, I was sitting here and I'm saying, what is the first thing that I want to launch with to get people excited, but also help make an intentional difference in their life and help them improve their lives? and help them do something about it today. Because I think a lot of people can probably relate to, you can consume all the content in the world, whether it's in your business, your life. It doesn't matter if all you do is consume, you never actually do something about it, you're not really getting the benefit. And so with a lot of my content, if not all of it, I'm trying to be very action oriented. And so as I was sitting there brainstorming, coming up with things, the idea that I finally settled on was, well, what are the things in my life that make my life so rich? And some of you guys may have heard the term life design, but that's something that I've been working a lot on intentionally over the last 5 years, especially, but arguably at least the last 13. And the thing about that is, one thought experiment a lot of you probably have heard is, if you were to win the lottery tomorrow, what would you do? And if money wasn't an object, basically, what would you do? And I didn't win the lottery, not yet, unfortunately. But we did take that leap. My wife and I, we went at life with that attitude, and we said, what are we going to do? And that led to us doing the RV for a year. I'm working on my business. My wife Danielle is working on becoming a writer, and so we're intentionally living and trying to do the things every day to make our lives the best way that they can be. And so then I realized, well, that's like the perfect content right there. It's like, let me share with you the things that a dude whose job it is for the last few years to analyze life and figure out how to do it better from an analytical perspective, and then tell you, hey, here's all the things that I found out in my life personally. And some of those things, what you may be able to relate to, and you may have on your own, on your own list. And then some of them may just be ideas to get you going. And then guess what? We'll walk you through the steps so you can do it yourself. And I'm saying all this, but I didn't actually mention the thing itself. I know we're still workshopping the title a little bit, but essentially I've created a list of things that have improved my life, and things that have improved my life and make it valuable, make it richer every day. So this demo day was a great little microcosm, a great little example of what happens. And at least for me, and I think a lot of people, you have this goal, you have this thing that you're trying to achieve, but there's always the gap before you achieve it. And so there's a lot of struggle in between there of beating yourself up sometimes and not really feeling the reward until you get all the way to the end. And then you do the thing, and then it feels great, right? But what do you do in the in between? And what do you do if you maybe never even achieve that thing, or you decide you're going to do something else? How do you do that while still having a rich life? And that's what I've developed I've developed this list, and I'm sharing that list through a series of videos. And I have the intro video mostly ready to go, but not quite ready for game time today. And I'm going to share that list with everybody, and looking forward to seeing what comes of it, and hearing what other people get on their list.
Amazing. Reid, that's so cool. Well, congrats, first of all. Let's make some digital noise for Reid, everybody. Woo! Thank you. Our hands are going to get sore from all of the fake clapping. I just love how rooted in making people's lives better your work is. So thank you, Reid. Who has a comment or a question to share with Reid? I think I got time for maybe one or two quick ones before we jump to the next one.
I just want to thank Reid for the list idea. As you were saying that, I'm like, oh, I can make a list of things that have changed my mindset. So thanks for the idea, Reid.
Yeah, of course. And I will also share in the chat the link for today. There's some things that I'm giving away for free, and also giving people ways to be notified as this content comes out. And just real quick, so we know what the giveaways are: 20% off the Kickstart Your Kitchen course, and then a free 30-minute one-on-one with me. And that's for the first 10 people who sign up. And then also a copy of Swipe Right, the name for my credit card guide that is a comprehensive guide, tells you everything from interest to points to everything in between. Thanks for the question, the comment, Valerie.
Reid, do
Thanks
you
so much,
or your
Reid.
business have Twitter?
Jay, if only I knew of like a challenge or something to encourage me to maybe do that, and like, I don't know, 50, 20, 10, maybe 100
Maybe
be a good
100.
number. Yeah. To answer your question, there's your little teaser, Jay. We have one. We haven't been using it, and I actually just set the intention last week to start using a lot more. So I will be participating in your challenge. I appreciate the plug.
What's your handle? I'm tweeting about this right now.
Oh, great question. It's helpful for life. The only question is if it's the number 4 or not. You know how that goes sometimes. I will confirm and send
it
a
is the
message.
number 4.
Oh,
It's
thanks, Jillian. You're
helpful
fast.
for life.
Appreciate
No
it.
problem. It's my, I'm fast.
It's so awesome hanging out with pros because we just want to lift each other up. It's like we have no shame about plugging each other's stuff because it's like, nah, this guy's tough. It's the best. Go check it out.
So yeah, I think
right,
we genuinely want everyone to succeed. It's definitely like there's enough room for all of us mentality, which is so nice.
Amen to that.
So I want to go to Scott next, who's going to talk about his work with Assan, and then we're going to go to Tiffany and Jay. If you're down, we'll go to you after that, and then we'll see who's here and go to the videos. But Scott has been very consistently joining us in the co-working sessions every week for the last month, hanging out in the cafe. And he's got an awesome story to share about his collaboration with Assan, and who is also here with us, just not on camera right now. And Scott's in cybersecurity, and he's going to help us all secure ourselves from the scary specter of ransomware. Scott, let's make some noise for Scott and welcome him as he helps us keep away from ransomware.
Tony.
Scott.
Thank you. So I'm going to try to share a screen here and see if this actually works. Can you guys see that?
You're good.
Okay. And so I will tell you that, my business partner, Assan, is, I think he's in the car and he's driving, so he can't see, but I think he can hear us.
Hi, everyone.
There he is. Hey, Assan. So,
Stay safe, Assan.
Yeah. 10 and 2. So Assan and I kind of both met in SPI Pro and, just kind of hit it off and had a conversation and realized that we kind of just sort of share a lot of our approach to business and just ethics and morals about how to do it. And, we both kind of came, we both have a, corporate America background and, but an entrepreneurial spirit and kind of wanted to do some things together. So we just kind of had a chat and said, let's work together. Let's figure out something that we can do that kind of leverages both of our skill sets. And so we brainstormed a few things and we realized that, we both have some experience with cybersecurity. And realize that, ransomware right now is obviously a huge problem. And even though the giant hacks that are hitting the big companies are getting a lot of press, it's really something that affects, every business, around the world and around the country. So we wanted to put something together. So I will tell you, this is kind of our MVP entry-level product, and it's not all that exciting, but we just want to get our foot in the door and kind of, test the waters with something, get some feedback, and then kind of come out with some additional products. So I put together just a little quick presentation for today. So I'll go through this real quick. So and I'll kind of just talk through it, but our target audience is a small to medium business market. And the goal is just to help businesses prevent ransomware because you don't want to get it. Once you get it, it's a problem. And yeah, you can maybe get rid of it, but it's going to cost, time and money and possibly reputation. So we really want to try to prevent this thing. The problem is that the big companies have loads of money to spend on cybersecurity and people and hardware and so forth, but smaller companies, even the ones who are aware of ransomware, they may not have money or staff to spend on it, or they think that just running any virus software is all they need to do. And spoiler, it is not. So our solution is this thing that we're calling the Ransomware Prevention Guide. It's going to be written in plain English so that you don't have to be technical to understand it. It's going to go over just some basics on what ransomware is and who's doing it and why, and what the potential impacts are. What types of companies are targeted? The answer there is all of them, any of them. And then we really get into how are the infections actually happening? What from a practical standpoint, who's doing what that's making them happen. And then we've got a strategy that we're going to explain in the guide. That's got really three phases. It's prepare, prevent, and respond. So the preparation part will go into all sorts of things about, just kind of getting things set, in the company so that you prepare people to avoid an attack. The prevention kind of goes into some more detail about specific things that you need to do. And then if you are in the unfortunate situation of having a ransomware attack, we give some details on, what you should do to respond and what you shouldn't do. So yeah, this is kind of what I just said. Preparedness is, what you should do, explains the importance of things like backups, software updates, strong passwords, multi-factor authentication, email hygiene, and stuff like that. So as I said, this is our MVP product. It's going to basically be about a 20-page document. We're calling it executive summary format. It's not going to be the boring fine print, 400-page documents that are coming out of the government that have just a massive amount of information in them that most people are not going to read. So we want to try to make it, easy to digest, almost enjoyable to kind of read through and learn about it in a fun way. And just kind of pick up some knowledge as you go. We do, as I mentioned before, this is our entry-level product, so we do want to have some upsells and some future products. We want to go into more webinars, online courses, some training materials that we can produce and sell to employers, and possibly get into more customized training for individual companies. We would sort of interview them and kind of find out what their main concerns are, and then put together some custom products for them. And then possibly some kind of a community-based product where it's more of an ongoing thing, where we might do a monthly educational live training Q&A session, something like that. But basically it's a forum for people to kind of pop in, learn some new stuff each month, get their questions answered, and so forth. That's pretty much it. We did put together a little lead magnet we're calling Common Ways Ransomware Attacks Businesses. I think it's 6 or 7 pages. But the key point is it really just kind of gets people on our mailing list so that once the ransomware prevention guide is actually finished, we will know the first people that are interested in getting it. We will have, we haven't figured out a pricing yet, so we really have no idea what it's going to be. But we will put together an offer for SPI Pro members. It'll be at least a 50% discount off the real price. But if anybody is just kind of interested in that lead magnet and getting on our mailing list, go to LP, like landing page 1.ransomwarepreventionguide.com. I'll put this in the chat in a second. And if you want to email either Assan or myself, our email addresses are on the screen. That is it. I will stop my screen share and entertain any questions anybody might have.
Yay. Thank you so much, Scott. Congratulations. Way to get it done.
Scott, my question is similar to what I asked Reid. Do you have a Twitter handle that I can tag in our recap of the thread?
The quick answer is no. I have a personal one that I don't really use. So Assan and I do need to get a social media strategy together, including Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube, all that stuff. So I'm sad to say we don't really have anything right now for this particular thing.
One thing I can say is that we'll set the handles up, Scott and I, and we can share it on the SPI Pro forum, if that's okay. Yeah, really looking forward to kind of answering any questions. And that I agree with somebody that said earlier, I think all of us get a lot of pleasure in kind of helping each other. I know that was the case for me coming into SPI Pro. So really great to be here among friends and colleagues. So thank you.
You're muted again, Tony.
Assan, thank you so much for joining, and congrats again. And thank you for staying safe on the road. My rule for people joining my Zoom meetings when they're in the car is keep my track record perfect. No Zoom related incidents. Thank you.
That's pretty
Awesome,
funny.
Assan and Scott. Yeah.
That's pretty funny considering we have a vinyl happy hour club at Team SPI. And the
Okay.
last
All
one
right.
we did,
Listen, Jill. Okay. What
You
happens in
gotta tell
Vinyl
them.
Club is
stays in vinyl club. Except for this.
I did rent a car. Well, there was a time when I happened to have to rent a car right when Vinyl Club was meeting. And so I was in the Zoom meeting while I was in the rental car. And I kind of gave Vinyl Club a tour of New York City while I was driving around,
It was
going to pick
so
up my
fun.
girlfriend for the weekend.
It was
It
beautiful.
was really, it felt like we were in like a music video. It was really
and we
nice.
went to literal Sesame Street.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Shouts to my lady who is a producer on Sesame Street.
Hey.
Woo! Yeah.
We do have a question in the chat. How long did it take to make the lead magnet?
Oh, the lead magnet was actually pretty quick to do. I really need to undersell it or oversell it. Maybe it's not that impressive. I mean, it's just a quick 7-8 page thing that just like spilled out of my brain. And I just used Canva to put it together in a nice format and then just saved it as a PDF. The information wasn't anything new, at least for me. But I think one thing that I have learned is just because I know something and it seems like common sense and everybody knows it doesn't necessarily make that the case. And so, that is kind of one of the goals here is, we need to go into this assuming that not everybody knows about how ransomware happens. And so we want to give some advice that to some people will seem like, well, duh, everybody knows that, but maybe they don't. And maybe we can help some people by stating what to us is obvious.
That is so true. Institutional knowledge. I did a workshop last night actually. And, coming up with I'm like, is this relevant content? This is like the obvious stuff, but I think it's obvious because this is what I've been doing for over a decade. Right. So yeah, when you're talking about,
you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, you're talking about ransomware, and I'm like, I don't know anything about this. I just don't want it to happen to me. So I'm like, your perfect person is like, what? Tell me more.
Right, exactly. And just about, conveying information that seems like common sense. Sometimes it's a matter of, even if stuff is common sense, just sometimes rephrasing stuff or putting it together in a more easy to understand format can be beneficial. Like I mentioned, there is a huge amount of really good ransomware information that is coming out of the government, FBI, Department of Homeland Security, CISA, which is the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency. They are pumping out a huge amount of really useful information, but they're doing so in these gigantic documents with teeny tiny font that it would take you 3 days just to read one of them. And so, one of our goals is to kind of distill that, curate it a little bit, and just put it into, almost like a Cliff Notes version of just like,
Yes.
Here's what you need to know. Here's what you need to do. Now go do it.
Love it.
Thank you so much, Scott. Thank you, Assan. We are crushing our time here. We're doing just fine. We have enough time for everybody, but I want to keep it moving because otherwise we're going to run out. So Scott, Assan, thank you one more time. I want to go to Tiffany next, and then we're going to go to Jay. Did I have that order right? I believe I remembered that correctly. So Tiffany, I'm just going to turn it right over to you. Welcome, and let's make some digital noise for Tiffany, everybody. Woo.
Thanks, everyone. Well, I love this community so much. I want to say, first, thanks to Jillian and Jay. You guys have helped me with artwork opinions through the community over the past few months. And I am just really grateful. I first, landed on SPI's site about 5 years ago. And it was interesting because I had been looking up stuff like, how do I start my online business? And I just wasn't sure. So it's been amazing. And then this past year, well, I guess to go back, I've been a career coach for 20 years. And I've mostly worked at universities. And then about 10 years ago, my entrepreneurial journey started because too many of my friends were getting married at once. And I was afraid, when the peeps at Pottery Barn know you by name, you may be going to a lot of weddings. And being in those, I knew I needed to make some extra money. but I also knew I wanted, I had been working, I worked at Vanderbilt, the Career Center at the time, helping students get jobs. And I thought, if I'm going to get a side job, I was afraid, A, if I worked in retail, I'd spend all my money. And B, I had started to work with students who were interested in startups and entrepreneurial life. And I got the bug myself. So that's when I started with Elance back in the day, and then Upwork. And so over the past 10 years, I've had 1,000 clients doing their resumes, career coaching. So it was all students by day at my jobs at Vandy, and then it was UPenn. I was a recruiter for a bit, and then it was executives in the evening. So I decided I needed to get my website up, and listening to Pat's podcast, I realized, wow, so much of what I do in my job is I do these panels with alumni who come back from different industries and share all their expertise with students. But we're talking usually a room of maybe 30 people. And what of all the people that could benefit from that. And also with my own site, I still do my career coaching and I have my clients, but so many of the people, I think you guys had mentioned this, I forget what it's not like to know this stuff because I've just immersed myself in it so long. And I realize they've done the hard part. They've done the work. They just don't know how to market themselves. So that's where my podcast began. It's called Job Search Strategies with Tiffany Franklin. And I launched it about 2.5 months ago. I have 17 episodes now, which I'm really excited about. It's been a mix of maybe 10% solo shows where I get super tactical, resumes, interviews, all that good stuff. And there's plenty of show notes too, and transcripts if people don't have time to read it all or, listen to it all. And then most of what I focus on are the interviews because that's the fun stuff. SPI community has just been pivotal throughout this. I did Power Up Podcasting. The big leap was last October. After all those years of working for a place, I decided to move from Philly home to Florida, and I'm on my own now. So it's been really, and I'm one of those people that I really value security. So thanks to this community, seeing a roadmap of how to have that take a strategic risk. And so I've really appreciated that. The mastermind group has been amazing. So basically we meet every 3 weeks. We talk about our roses, our buds, our thorns. And I was a little behind with them because they had already launched by the time I joined in October. I was in research and development for like 8 months. It took me a while, but then when I did, I launched with 12 episodes. So, to get my momentum going. So if I can do a screen share with you guys, let me screen share this and then you can see. So this, can everybody see? Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
So,
you're good.
This is my website where I advertise my coaching things. And it was funny. Thanks to Pat, I'm not getting sued because I wasn't so sure. I've had the TJF career coaching name for 10 years, and I wanted to keep that for branding purposes. And plus it was a smaller URL. But as far as the podcast, I wanted it to really have that job search strategies. I almost called it Ivy League Career Coach because I worked at UPenn for years, but then I realized from Pat's experience and, he's talked about it in so many things, but let go and all, I'd get totally sued if I did that. So, and he helped me with that during office hours. So anyway, here's about my career coaching. And then this is a little bit about my background. And then down here, I have, what the podcast is about. So if you go to the podcast tab and then go down here, not only do you see how to find them, but then I have for each episode, I've worked really hard on my show notes to focus on the people. So like for this one, now the website, I did hire somebody because I had done my own. And that was another thing that thanks to this community, really, I think I was clinging to I'm trying to bootstrap. I don't have the money to hire people, but then this year was all about leveling up, not only in my business, but I just think my life, what do I want my life to be? And I think that's been hearing so many of you a theme of how you want to design your life. So, and I mean, I'm still learning so much every day, just how to give a better interview, the technical stuff. But so anyway, if you go in, so this is one of them that I did recently, and I know that title's way too big. I've got to talk to my designer about that. But I talk about, all these cool things, and it's been like this is your life journey of people I've known through the years. And it's amazing how many said yes, even when I didn't have anything out there. And then others since then. So this is one of my favorite episodes because these guys guys, they do this thing called Vandy in Hollywood, which helps people launch careers in entertainment and media. And they've been so successful, but they're super down to earth. And so we just had a fun time. I mean, normally my episodes are 30 minutes, 40 minutes long. Theirs was an hour and 20 minutes. And I just decided to keep it because we ended up doing it in 2 parts. Note to self, in the middle of one of your biggest interviews, if it ever goes out because of your Wi-Fi, use your phone as a hotspot. So they were very nice. And so that's why I kept the whole thing. And so my next steps are just here, I'll stop the share now. Basically trying to write the course that I want to do over the next few months, write my ebook, and really marketing. I can put in the chat all my contact information for you guys. The Twitter, I'm just really starting to do the Twitter. That's another thing of how to market myself. That's probably my weakness that I am learning. And then for any of you guys listening, for the first 10 people that if they just email me at that email, Tiffany@tjfcareercoach.com, I'm giving away 10, 15-minute resume critiques, which I realize we have many entrepreneurs here, but even as an entrepreneur, you have to pitch yourself to people. So I'm happy to do a Zoom with them and give them tips.
Amazing. Thank you, Tiffany, so much. That is awesome. And for those of you who don't see this, Tiffany dropped in the chat her links and her socials and everything all neatly ready to go. And I just love when folks have their like Zoom chat paste ready. That comes really in handy.
It helps me in the middle of the crew because I already saw what the program was.
Well, yeah, you did get a little advanced prep there. So who's got a question for Tiffany before we move on?
My only question is, how much did Jill pay you to say all those nice things about SPI Pro?
Well, Jay, you answered a question or two along the way too. So I'm really thankful to you guys. And one thing I will say is I have learned so much from this community too, because there is another career coach in my Lychee mastermind group. And it's so funny the way that we help each other. It's not like a competitive thing, because if anything, it's like we're validators for each other. Like, oh my gosh, I have been there, or you're going to get through that. And we have almost done a spin-off mastermind where not only do we have the big group, but then we'll talk again once a month to help each other get to the next level. So it's really cool.
Actually, I have a question, Tiffany. Just I heard you mention it, and I would just like you to speak to it more for the people who are listening or who might watch it later. You talked about the podcast and not starting and taking a long time, but then you did start and you had a whole bunch in going. And I'm not podcasting at this point, but I guess I speak on people's podcasts, but this podcast is this whole thing. So maybe speak to people getting started in that and what steps you did to, how did you get from nothing to 12 and now you've got the flow going?
Sure. So, I mean, really, it all came down to the course, The Power Up Podcasting. So when my first day of being on my own as an entrepreneur was October 1st, I mean, I had coaching clients, but not a regular job to go to. That was my first day of watching the videos that Pat did. Now, I've heard people take courses in 2 different ways. Some will do the course and stop and do all the homework along the way. I'm one of those. I have to read to the end of the book and then figure out everything and then go back and do it for the perspective. So it took me probably about a month to do every video, just watch it and read it. And then from November onward, I spent another 7 months. Now, I was ridiculously slow. Like Pat gave us permission in there to push back our launch date. But just to give you an idea, my initial launch date was Thanksgiving 2020. I launched June 16th, 2021. But, at some point you get so in that I didn't want the analysis paralysis, but I also wanted the quality. And that's when I hired the web designer. I got professional headshots, and, it's been crazy. I spent way more money, but then this is an investment in me. And this is like the culmination of everything I've done professionally and in my entrepreneurial journey. So listening to other people in the group made me breathe and say, okay, this makes sense. And hearing what they had done made me say, that makes sense to spend money on, or no, I shouldn't in this regard too. So that was what was helpful. But then as far as the steps, I mean, I do use We Edit podcast to help me with the actual, it's like I've learned what I don't know. And so I still spend a few hours editing, but it's more for content and storytelling. And then they do all the stuff for that. So that's been a good investment. And so I'd probably get it down to about 15 hours a week per episode. And I'm also giving my permission if I need to take 2 weeks between episodes, then so be it. But I'm still really learning with it. I do have a list of every step that I made. So I'd be happy. You've got my email. I'll shoot you the list that I broke it down. I'm a big old list nerd. So.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, Tiffany. And just what I want to encourage for people listening. First of all, from the coach side of me says, don't judge yourself about saying that it was ridiculously long, right?
Yeah.
Because the reality is you have the idea and now it's a thing and it's in less than a year. You know, how many other people are out there saying it, and they're not taking the steps and they're not pushing the deadline and they're not actually doing it. So you actually did and you got it done. So kudos to you for doing that. And for everybody else, right? Don't judge how long it takes. The fact that you did it is awesome. And thanks for sharing that. Cause I think that's the reality of things, right? What's that one quote? We overestimate what we can do in a certain amount of time and underestimate what we can do in another amount of time, right? But just the going and the doing and gets it done. So kudos to you for getting it out there and serving the people that you're serving.
Well, congrats, Val. And I guess one last quote, I'll just end up because I want everybody else to have their time. But loved your site too. And I think it's great that you got it out there. But my big quote I keep remember is shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you land among the stars. So, you know, and I feel like this group is all about shooting for the moon. And that's what's so exciting about it.
Thank you, Tiffany. One last digital round of applause for Tiffany, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Everybody's got their digital clap game down after this meeting. It's fun to see all of us doing this. All right, so we are getting into the last half an hour or so of our program, and what I've got up next is I've got Jay, who's going to be presenting our Tweet 100. I see we've got Jake here. Welcome, Jake. After Jay, I'm going to play your video, and you can narrate us. So talk to us a little bit about what you've been working on.
Yeah,
and then
great.
I've got one more video to play. So welcome to Jake and Jay. How are you doing? Are you ready? Are you ready to Tweet 100 us?
I am ready. I've got a whole situation set up over here. This is going to be great.
Everybody make some digital noise for Jay. Woo!
Woo!
Yeah.
This has been so inspiring, guys. Let me just start by saying that this has been really, really fun. Tony, thanks for pulling this together with Jill. This is just awesome. So fun. So great to hear these stories. We don't often get to, hear some of the magic that happens between pros behind closed mastermind doors and things like that. So it's just really fun for you guys to be here. My name is Jay. On the side of SPI, I have a podcast called Creative Elements, where I talk to remarkable creators who have broken through the noise and they've built businesses around their art and creativity. And I really want that podcast to just do super well. And on that show, I've been talking to some creators lately. One of them, an independent podcaster who has 300,000 downloads per episode. His name is Jack Reciter. And it's just an awesome story. He's crushing it. He has a Patreon that has like 6,000 patrons and earns him $20,000 per month. It's just crazy. And in that interview, he was just talking about how he owes so much to Twitter and gets so much out of Twitter. I've had several guests on the show who talk about Twitter, and I love Twitter. I had an experience in July where I made a thread and it went kind of viral and just like almost doubled my following pretty much overnight. And so I just see this correlation every time I put some time into Twitter. I see that I reach new people, my following grows. There are new opportunities, new doors that open up. And I just wanted to build some sort of system to force me to tweet just once a day. Just put enough effort into Twitter that you make one good tweet a day. I can take that content, I can share it on Instagram and try to get a little extra mileage out of it. So I spun up what I call Tweet 100, which is a 100-day challenge, also inspired by another podcast guest who did a 100-day challenge to create 100 different ceramic mugs with 100 different handles in 100 days. And it changed her life. She was in the New York Times. Like she was literally a barista at my local coffee shop. I would talk to her. She would make coffee for me. And now like could barely get her on the show because she's so busy. She's blowing up. She's got a warehouse making these mugs now at a scale of production. She has a partnership with Madewell because she dedicated herself to a 100-day challenge. So Tweet 100 was meant to be a very lightweight 100-day challenge. The idea is you write one good tweet, you add the hashtag tweet 100, and you just do that for 100 days. What I didn't anticipate was a lot of people running with it. So let me show you a couple things here, a little journey of how this has gone so far. Making sure I'm on the right window. Yes. Yes. Hey, Jill, thanks for the love on the wall art. All right, we see in my screen here.
Yep.
Confirm, deny.
All good. It's beautiful.
Okay. So the first thing that I did was I just made a very simple landing page. Actually, let me pull this up. I bought the domain tweet 100. I was like, this is really smart. I made a ConvertKit landing page, set it to join.tweet100.com. Just said 100-day challenge for publishing on Twitter. And it's just an opt-in. Then I went over to Twitter and I shared it and said, here's what I'm doing. The more you tweet, the more your following grows. So I started this free challenge. I used the hashtag. I gave the background I just gave. I had also created a prototype Airtable leaderboard so I could track people's progress. And I actually joined a stream with a guy named Aaron, who has a Twitter channel called Automate All the Things. He was doing live streaming, showing how he just does insane automations with Airtable, to the point where Airtable, I don't know if they acquired his channel or if they just pay him to host it now under the Airtable brand, but he's like an Airtable ambassador. We built out this leaderboard that is literally completely functional, and it tracks anytime somebody tweets with the hashtag tweet100, it registers it on the back end in Airtable along with the publish date, and it will count how many days in a row has this person tweeted using that hashtag. So an end result, I have this view in Airtable that has people's username. I did some logic so I can link to their profile. I log how many followers they had to start so that at the end of 100 days, we can do some fun data analysis on it. You self-declare your start date. You can start your 100-day challenge any day that you want. But once you hit your start date, then Airtable starts to track your progress. So my start date was August 20th. 6 days have been tallied since then, including the 20th. It runs every 24 hours. So this updates every night at 11:45 p.m. Eastern to check, like, did you tweet today? It's not quite real time yet, but I actually have a call this afternoon to try to make that better. And it tracks your success rate. So to this point, in just 6 days, almost 350 people have enrolled in this, which is great because that first step I showed you is a ConvertKit opt-in. So I started this on the 20th, and you can see for me personally, this means that I've had over 400 people subscribe in the last several days. On the back end, when you do subscribe, I will send you a 3 email series of how it works, along with a leaderboard. I've started talking to a couple of tools that have free products, but that have paid versions that are genuinely useful tools for people trying to do more on Twitter. So hopefully, there's some affiliate revenue to this since it is a free challenge. And then the third email in the sequence is a link to 2 of my podcast episodes that are very much about Twitter to hopefully introduce the show to new listeners. I built the website this weekend in a couple of hours. It's really simple. It's just an opt-in. I used a tool called shoutout.so to tag people who were saying nice things about it and kind of create this nice board of love to show people care about it. And that's it. It's kind of frustrating. It's amazing because I've definitely worked much harder to achieve less success than this has been so far. But it's a good lesson in if you make something that people like and that benefits people, they spread the word. There's been almost 1,300 tweets now that have used that hashtag in the last couple of days. You can see that the subscribe rates have gone really high, and the subscribe rates generally, the landing page for this has 42% conversion. The homepage form I just put out, 16%. It's very fun, introducing me to new people. And like I said, been pretty low effort on my part. It's not low effort on the part of Zapier, which this automation is very task heavy. And so I've had to update my Zapier plan 3 times in the last week. And I'm looking at like a $200 per month bill right now from Zapier just to run this thing. So it's not without cost. I'm going to try to improve this. So maybe it's not all built on Zapier, but that's where we're at right now.
All right, let's make some, hang on, I got to get gallery view first. All right, let's make some digital noise for Jay, everybody. Woo! Amazing, Jay, so exciting, so inspiring. I have to say, I've committed to launching a side project, and I am so nervous, and I feel like I just need to do your Tweet 100. And we're going to try to do that for the Team SPI Twitter account as well. And I've got some ideas for you, Jay. I feel like this Tweet 100 could be like a platform for 100s.
Yeah. Actually, could I say something about that really quickly?
Please, Val. Yeah.
So Jay, what I love about this, the 100, and as you were sharing how it was inspired about some other gal who'd done something and did 100 days and things changed. From a brain science perspective, it takes on average 67 days to create a new neural pathway. So this habit of tweeting 100 or whatever, and there's that 75 hard challenge, right? But that doing something for that 100 days is really giving you an opportunity to cement it in your brain and really make it that habit that moves forward. So that's awesome. I love it.
Thanks, Val.
Hey, Jay, are you manually tweeting every day, or are you using some type of like automation system to load them up for like weeks at a time?
Could be both. Most of the time right now for me, it's manual. I have done some scheduling before. There's a tool called Hype Fury that I use. That's in that email. That's really good. But there's obviously like Buffer. There's all kinds of scheduling tools. But lately it's been a lot of manual.
Mm-hmm.
But it works. It works either way. If somebody joins the challenge, they want to load it up through Buffer and they want to load up 10 days in a row, totally fine.
Yeah.
It took some work to make it so it didn't count every single tweet, because some people are going crazy on this. They're like, I have 10 tweets today and I'm going to hashtag all of them. And like it counts as one, but I'm glad that you're working hard.
Can't game the system.
Oh, I was wondering about that. Good to know.
Yeah. It only counts one a day, even if you post multiple.
Jay, we have David and I think Gail saying she loves leaderboards. So she has starry eyes for your leaderboard. David said he needs to do it too. Tiffany can't wait to join. So we got some more people joining the Tweet 100. It is not too late.
I will share I'll share the link to the stream on YouTube too, where he like literally shows how we built this whole thing with Zapier and Airtable. And awesome. You can build a similar leaderboard if you want to.
Jay, you mentioned a Twitter platform that you use for scheduling up your tweets. What was that?
There are several. Typefully is the one that I showed you, Tony. That's free. Let me share these. I actually don't remember all the actual URLs. I'm going to share my affiliate links, but you can go around them if you want. That's Typefully. That's free. The other one I mentioned was Hype Fury.
Hype Fury.
Hype Fury is really good. There's another one I'm looking at right now called Tweet Hunter that serves up a bunch of inspiration for you every day. You give it some categories, and using AI, it serves up some tweets that have performed well along those categories, and you can kind of like think about them and remix them, similar to the way people do it on TikTok.
Amazing. All right, thank you, Jay. Thanks for that. Okay, so we've got Jake Lang here. Jake, welcome to the program. So glad you could join.
Yeah, Glad to be here. Sorry I'm late.
No, all good, all good. So I've got your video queued up. How would you like me to do this? You want me to just hit play and then we'll talk about it after? You want to introduce it first?
Yeah, we can go ahead and hit play and talk about it afterwards if that works.
All right, great. All right, everybody. Let's make some welcome noise for Jake Lang. Yay, digital noise. All right. Okay, so I'm going to open this up in the Zoom native screen sharing, and we're just going to see how well this goes. Okay, and just let me know if you can't hear it. I'm going to hit play now.
Hey everyone, Jake Lang here from the Entrepreneur Ride Along. My business is theentrepreneurridealong.com, where I teach aspiring entrepreneurs how to start and scale their first online business. I've done it 8 times now. I started 8 different online businesses, so it's just what I love doing. Love finding that new idea, sparking the new idea. Now I teach people how to build their own online business, just like I've done a couple of times. So what I set out to do a couple months back, actually it was back at the last demo day, I believe, I had set out to write a book because I love writing. So I set out to write a book that answers the question or the most common topic that comes up with my coaching clients, which is, I want to start a business, but I don't know what to do. And that's a topic that I love and love to talk about. So I set a goal to write and launch a book by the end of August. Perfect time for this demo day. And it was a process, but I got it done just literally today. So today is August 25th when I'm recording this video. I just submitted the ebook manuscript to Amazon. It's going to be published on Amazon. It might be live by the time demo day rolls around here on Thursday the 26th. That was my goal, is to get it done, get the ebook published through Amazon by the time this demo day rolls around. So the book is titled Step 1, How to Research, Validate, and Choose the Perfect Idea for Your First Online Business. Is teaching the readers the process that I've used for my 8 online businesses, how to come up with that idea, how to brainstorm and just look around your life and find a business idea that could be your first online business and niche business, and how to validate it and make sure it's going to work before you launch. So it's a process that I've used and that I now teach my clients to use, and I put it into writing into a book now. So it's out there. It's launched the first week of September. The plan is I'm launching at 99 cents. It's just out there to get out there for my subscribers, get some early readers, some early reviews. Then I will publish the paperback in the next couple of weeks, and then an audiobook is a couple of weeks following that. So it's all coming soon. And I really could not have done this without the SPI team and SPI Pro. Actually, I wouldn't even be here without SPI. My first business started back in 2013 was because listening to Pat Flynn on the SPI podcast and hearing about his Green Lead Exam Academy and the businesses he was starting, and that kicked me off into this world. I fell in love, and now I've never left, and I keep coming back to SPI for more content, to learn more, and keep starting new businesses. I try to start a new one every year, and I couldn't do that without everything I'm learning from SPI Pro about physical products, memberships, and courses. So SPI really got me hooked on the online business world. It helped me quit my day job and get to pursue my online businesses full time. And now, since I can't build a business every day, I just get to keep writing books and get to keep talking to other entrepreneurs, and I get to help them find ideas for their first online business, because that's what I love doing. Regarding the actual book launch process, I actually could not have done that without SPI either. A few of the members from SPI Pro, Ray Blakeney, Stephen Faust, and actually Pat Flynn are all featured in this book. I reached out to SPI weeks back and said, hey, I kind of know Pat's story from listening to the podcast forever. Would you mind if I talk about his websites, foodtrucker.com, securityguardtraininghq.com, Green Lead Exam Academy, to use them as case studies to really show that, hey, business ideas really are all around you, and you don't even have to be an expert on the topic. You don't own a food truck, you can still start a food trucking website and teach people how to start a food truck. So thank you to Pat and all the members of SPI Pro that allowed me to feature them as case studies in the book to show other people how they can find that business idea. And in addition to that, SPI Pro, the people participating in the forums, all the other SPI Pro members helped me. They recommended to use 99 designs for a book cover, helped me with some book marketing resources and book launch resources and all the education that I needed. and also help me find an editor. I found my editor through SPI Pro. So just that community is so supportive and really helped me throughout this entire process, and really are the reason that I was able to bring this book to life. So thank you again to all the members of SPI Pro, the SPI team, and Pat, and all you guys are great. You can learn more about me at theentrepreneurridealong.com, and you can learn more about the book at step1book.com. So thanks, guys. I'll see you all in SPI Pro.
Yay, digital claps. All right, Jake, way to go, man. And double kudos to you, because not only did you do all of that, but you just sat through watching a video of yourself as we all watched it. And
that was the hardest part
unto itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you can tell,
So,
I kept messing up. So there were just like random cuts, and I would just change position because I would stumble upon my words.
Such smooth cuts. Honestly, I had to watch more closely to be like, is he making cuts? It was very nicely done. So way to go, Jake. Do you have any kind of like notes or anything that you need to add, having rewatched your own recording? Any corrections or anything like that?
No, that was pretty much it. Otherwise, the book is now on Amazon. It's live and out there, published for 99 cents. It's got one review from my wife, 5-star review. So, it's a good book.
Amazing. Who's got a quick question for Jake before we carry on towards the end of this crazy program?
Jake, how do you find the time?
I would say I was writing probably 4 hours a day since, I would say from April, May, June. I was writing about 4 hours a day during the week.
Wow.
And then I spent the last month or two rereading, hating a lot of it, rewriting it, and editing it. So it's I've been working on it since about April. So it took a long time, but I quit my job in April to take on my businesses full time. So I had a lot of extra time, and that was my plan. The first plan was to write this book. So it took a while, but it's officially done and out there.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Congratulations. It looks great too. It is on Amazon. It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
My question, Jake, would be, what is the step in the process that you thought would be way harder than it was?
Yeah, you mean in like the writing process?
Any part of the writing, publishing, editing process?
I would say actually the hardest part was, I thought the writing was the easiest, just because I like writing and it was a lot of fun, and I way overwrote at first and I had to cut a lot out. But the hardest part was, I would say, the last couple of weeks, which was getting the manuscript back from the editor, going through all of their red line changes and having to read what they think I should change it to and their suggestions, and deciding if I want to go with my writing or their writing, accepting all of their edits, and then just the formatting and actual publishing and making sure it meets the Amazon KDP standards. That stuff just, not my zone of genius. I really should have outsourced it, because that just kind of was frustrating in Microsoft Word, adding the right margins and bleed and all of that stuff. So that was the hardest part for me, is all the technical aspects after I was done writing.
Very cool.
Okay. Any
No, Tony, you muted.
damn.
What happened?
I'm sorry. That was me. It's all me. It's not worth talking about. Any last minute questions or comments for Jake before we carry on?
David over on the YouTubes. Thanks for sticking with us, David. Just saying, Jake, way to go. I'm finishing the editing of my first book and plan to publish January 2020. Wait a minute. 2021?
Got a time machine.
What's happening? Anyways, totally get the hard work.
Thanks, David. And congrats to you too.
All right. So we have one final speaker, and she is not physically present, but she has pre-recorded a video for us. Her name is Rose Griffin. And Rose is a speech therapist and board certified behavior analyst. She specializes in helping students with autism find their voice, and she provides courses, therapy materials, and speech therapy services. If you want to check her out, her website is abaspeech.org. And we're going to let Rose digitally take it away with our next video. So let's turn it over to Rose's video.
I love SPI Pro and the community that I have found here. My name is Rose Griffin. I'm a speech therapist and a board certified behavior analyst, and I'm a product developer, a course creator, and also a podcast host. I took Power Up Podcasting 1 year ago, and I started the Autism Outreach podcast, which is all about autism and communication, in January of 2021. Through the support of Pat, Jay Klaus, Jillian, and all the other amazing SPI Pro community members, they answered questions for me about my journey with podcasting, about segueing to podcast partnerships. And I'm proud to say that we have a weekly show. We're coming up on our 1 year anniversary. We actually had a company who purchased 10 of our episodes. It's the largest CEU provider for speech therapists. And I wouldn't have been able to get through that deal, the support, pricing without the SPI Pro community. So I'm super excited to be here.
All right. Short and sweet, Rose. Thanks to Rose Gerson, everybody. And that's ABA speech.org, abaspeech.org.
Rose is awesome.
So yeah. Jill, Jay, do y'all want to just kind of provide a little backstory on Rose and her relationship to SPI Pro from your perspective?
Rose has been here since the early days. She lives in Ohio, so we share that bond. She built a business out of, an area she knew really, really well and had some frustrations in. And that's the one thing I love about, okay, is the cat really going to do this right now at a time like this? That's the thing I love about Pro so much is the vast majority of our members, they started businesses online. They started online businesses because of some very real experiences and, frustrations they had in the real world, or they may have been doing some work in the, physical world for a really long time, and they just wanted to go online. It's a wide range of people who are solving very real problems for people. And Rose is one of those people.
Rose is just, amazing. As you can tell from her video, she's just like genuinely such a kind person. The work she does, the service she offers, she's helping speech therapists, really connect with their members, with their patients. And so she's just doing, such great work. And we just love being able to help her reach more and more therapists, speech therapists, who then are working with kids with autism and really working on, solving that puzzle of communication and just making those kids' lives better. So I just have all the feels. What's
right.
Baloo
Well,
doing?
let's do some digital claps for Rose. She's not here, but I'm sure she'll tune it in later. Rose, way to go. Thanks for putting in that video. And shouts to all of you. Thank you, all of you, for sharing your stories with us. One thing that stands out to me in the SPI Pro community, and you see it so strongly here today, is kind of unlike that world of tech startup presentations that I've sat through a lot of those, and they can be very exciting. I really just feel so strongly like every single person here is doing something that helps a very specific person in a very specific way. And in some cases in a really, really important and meaningful way. And that just really helps me to feel so purposeful about the work that we're doing here to help each of you build your businesses that will help you claim your financial independence and support your families and your lifestyle. But then the work that you're doing is also serving others. And so, yay to all of you. Congrats on all that you've done. And the beauty is that we are doing this on a seasonal rhythm. And so this gives us a chance to take a breath, take a perspective of where we are now, and then we get to reset the board. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up applications and invitations for the applicants. So if you're tuning in, if you're watching the replay, smartpassiveincome.com/pro. And then in September, we're going to be welcoming in the next cohort. We're going to be setting some new goals for that cohort, and then we're going to do another demo day. And so this gives us a chance to just set some new goals based on where we are right now, which is kind of fun. So that way we're not just kind of drifting along on our own. We're here helping each other along on our journeys as we go. So that's just about it for us. I want to, again, plug a few things that we have coming up. The worst kept secret, Jillian and I hosting a new podcast, which you will be hearing more about next week, all about community building. And I am producing with Team SPI a free online summit, which is going to be a 2-day event with some killer speakers. The lineup of speakers is going to be announced tomorrow morning. The first round of announced speakers. We got some more coming as well, and a bunch of great partners. That event is called Audience Driven Summit, and that's audience-driven.co. And what else do I need to announce? What else do we need to shout? Jay, Jill, any last minute thoughts?
Most importantly, I was just going to say, let's give Tony some digital claps for putting this all together. This is amazing.
Hear ye.
Yeah, we don't often get to see like such a condensed, awesome version of what people are working on. So thank you, Tony, for leading on this.
Thanks, man. I'm going to go flop on the couch after this is over.
Well deserved.
But yeah. It's going to be a well-deserved flop. Jill, anything? Jilly. I called
Jilly.
you. I'm
Jilly.
Jillian, any last minute thoughts from you before we call it a day?
No, I just thank you everyone who came and watched. And if you're watching the recording, thanks for sticking with us. We're super excited to share all the great work pros are doing. And hopefully you got to see just some of the magic that is Pro, the collaboration and support. And even if you're not in SPI Pro, I hope you have that kind of support in your life. Or you could join us in Pro.
That's right. And of course, there's lots of other stuff too, right? smartpassiveincome.com and everything Pat Flint does, so much great that's out there for you. Free stuff, workshops, all kinds of good things. So if you're out there, you're working on building a business, or you're at any point in your journey towards entrepreneurship, there's a whole lot of folks out there who are right there along with you in that journey. And we're all here to support each other. So keep doing the great work you're doing. Pros, thank you so much for just blowing us away, filling us with lots of inspiration. We're so excited to continue on this journey together and keep making Pro a better place for all of us. So thanks all of you. Great demo day. Way to make it such a special one. Congrats again. One more digital round of applause to all of you. Congrats. Thanks, friends. All right. Take care, everybody. Signing off.